one and all, to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast for our Spirits Review. I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, joined by the returning Mayan Appocolypse. Welcome back, sir. It's been some time, but you're back. I remember you were here for another very top-shelf premium spirits, Conor McGregor Proper 12.
Decent.
And so, in Tony G's opinion, something comparable. But Tony couldn't be here this evening. He, as much as a huge Canadian club fan as he is, just couldn't make it. So
He had ballet, I understand.
I get it. So we decided we will, in his stead, get another spirits review in, and we're going to do a small flight of Canadian Club. Canadian Club's small batch blended Canadian whiskey, hand-selected, fully matured Canadian Club whiskey, patiently aged for 12 years in superior quality and character. And Canadian Club 100% rye.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious how these compare. So, now, Mr. Appocolypse, it has been some time since you've been here on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. We are going to grade this on 3 different scales. This will be graded as a Canadian whiskey,
Okay.
as a brown spirit, and would you put it on your bottom, middle, or top shelf? This one will be graded on 4 scales. As a rye whiskey, as a Canadian whiskey, as a brown spirit, and on which scale, bottom, middle, top shelf. So,
Same concept.
let's get right into the small batch 12 year, sir. All right, it's got a cork on it, which, hey, that's better than a lot of Canadian whiskeys nowadays. They all got, and a special guest appearance by JKK47. Give him a hand, everybody. All right. Welcome back, Carter. All right. Welcome. Now, Jake, yeah, he's putting some on the rocks. Because, Jake, I'm to understand, you've had some Canadian Club before in the past. Is that a correct assessment? In fact, I believe you and I,
Correct.
we have a couple of fun stories, which we won't fully divulge here. So let's try this small batch, 12-year aged Canadian Club Canadian whiskey.
You want some rocks?
No, I'm gonna do it room temperature first, just to get the full aroma and flavor profile. The cooler the spirit is, the more it shuts down aromas and flavors. The warmer it is, the more it opens up. So, all right, let's see how this hits the nose, gentlemen.
Like shit.
Smells like what you would rub on your tattoos after they're
Now,
done.
Jake's got a little bit of a history with it. Would it be fair to say that this is an alcohol that you have previously drank so much of that you believe you've probably had your fill of? I'd say so. It took quite a bit of convincing to even get him on this podcast. There is a solvent smell to it. I will give you that. But, Jack Daniels also has a solvent smell, so you can't really begrudge too hard.
Feel like household chemicals.
Well, let's see how it hits the tongue, gentlemen.
Very different.
There's kind
Not
of a
as bad as I remember, but
that's
definitely terrible. So,
Well, we know his vote on that. His is going to be a little skewed. There's a sweetness there.
They're a little bit.
Like an
There's-
oaky, little, tiny bit of honey, but not much.
I almost want to say smoke.
Well, here.
but No.
Yes.
let me just do this.
Well, that was to be for your rye.
Nope. Don't care. Needed
Now you're
I always
saying
come
where his
prepared.
history comes in.
needed more croutons, man. Needed
So-
more CO2 croutons.
Needed some more ice in there. Well, to be fair, you've had some pretty negative experiences with this particular alcohol.
All right.
So
Well, okay. Well, That's tolerable right there. So
Gentlemen, now this is actually going to be pretty funny. We're going to grade this on Canadian whiskey scale, 1 to 5 stars, a brown spirits scale, 1 to 5 stars, and bottom, middle, or top shelf. So we'll start with the Mayan Appocolypse. Trust me, I want to hear your input on this. In terms of Canadian whiskey, 1 to 5 stars, what would you give this, sir?
Mr. Crown.
I'm gonna go ahead and give that probably a 3.
3 stars is a Canadian whiskey.
I've had a lot
out
more.
of 10.
I've had a
No,
lot
3 out of
better
5.
Oh,
Out of
Canadian
5
whiskeys.
Oh
stars.
Jesus, dude! How the fuck?
Just good. Let the man have his
You're
moment.
rating it 3.
Let the man have his moment. He
Well,
likes
obviously I
it.
have a high tolerance, but
He
that's
likes
beside the point.
he likes Canadian whiskey. Jake, in terms of Canadian whiskey, what do you rate this?
A half.
Half star. Okay. Wow. Memories. Jeremiah, in terms of
Maybe a 1. Maybe a 1.
Okay, maybe a 1. In terms of Canadian whiskey, I'm going to give this a. It actually is a very good prototypical Canadian whiskey. It's got the smell and sweet flavor profile, so I'm going to give this a 3.25 on the Canadian whiskey scale. In terms of brown spirits, in terms of something you can make a cocktail with, drink it on its own, I know, it's pretty funny. What do you give this, Mayan
Oh,
Appocolypse?
definitely. I'd give it a 5 just because it's a very good
5 star.
it's very good whiskey to make a drink out of.
So out of 5 stars, you're giving it 5 stars.
Yes, sir.
Damn. I was gonna give it like a 3.5 in terms of brown spirit, but yes, you're right. This is a very good
I'm
mixer.
a connoisseur. I like good whiskeys that you can actually make a drink with.
Woo. All right, Jake. Let's see how much of a space there is between your 2 reviews.
Not much.
Brown spirits.
2.2.
2.2. All right. Hey, it's improving. It's improving. Now.
I had to take another drink for it, but
Okay. So now some of the bad memories are starting to flush away, and you're being able to assess it more objectively. All right.
yeah.
Now, last but not least, and for brown spirits, yes, 3.5, but you give it 2.2. Now, gentlemen, bottom, middle, or top shelf? Where would you put this, Maya?
Definitely middle shelf.
Middle shelf.
It's a classy drink.
Jake, AK-47.
Needs another drink.
I'd say for what it is, I would put it top shelf.
Top.
Ooh.
Wow. Jake's been all over the place in his reviews here, but he's putting it on a top shelf. As a Canadian, he's giving it 1 star. As a brown spirit, 2.2, but he's still going to put it on his top shelf. You know?
He's not a fan either, so I mean.
I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. All right.
I'm not a fan, but
Give it up.
that I might be a fan of.
Okay. Interesting. So he came in very skeptical, but over time, the more drinks he took, he started to warm up to it. Oh, okay. This one's idiot proof. Almost.
Good thing I didn't.
Well, you got to
open it
say
down.
though, I haven't had none of that.
I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, Mr.
I haven't had
Appocolypse.
none of that in about 12 years. So
And your palate has changed over 12 years. Your palate changed every 7 years.
7 years.
So,
yes.
all right. Was this the drink? Glass of drink?
That's empty. These are the 3 fresh glasses.
Okay. Well, actually,
Yeah,
this is
don't
Jake's
worry
full.
about it. Just
Okay, this is mine.
do her to her.
No, that one you drank it out of, sir. Okay, we're ready to rock. So this is Canadian Club 100% rye.
Damn, everybody.
Well, you know, my adoring public, they're all over the place in this amazing venue.
I gotta be honest with you.
I might need to go
So-
offset and just, grab some more ice.
Let's take this one for what it is.
I'm not actually a rye fan,
Nope.
but
I gotta have ice, man.
put your eyes.
Oh, just
in there.
smell it. Just put it on your nose.
Yeah, it's potent, just like
Rye
Give Nurse
whiskey.
Ratchet a second. I think she's grabbing you a couple cubes.
Thank you, Nurse Ratchet.
Say, would you please?
It definitely smells like something you could put in your gas tank.
No, this has got a bit better sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
And a round of applause for
Oh.
Nurse Ratchet. Okay, all right. Now, let it hit the nose for a second, Maya. His isn't going to be quite the same because the ice is going to shut the aromas down.
Shook it a little too
Oh,
much.
I already smell it.
That's a good sweet rye.
That's it definitely does have a sweet smell to it.
Well, here. Smell it with the eyes.
Yeah, it's a lot more muted with the ice, but
Is
yeah,
it?
there's a sweetness to it.
Well,
Gentlemen, let's let it hit the palate. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice.
It's smooth.
It's a little smooth.
Not as strong as it smells, but
There's not a lot of sweetness on the tongue. It's kind of more of a grainy feel.
it's
Yeah,
got this.
that's,
Got the sweet smell.
It's real grainy.
No sweet taste.
I'd
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
say that's
So,
real greeny.
all right. Now, Mr. AK-47, Mr. Apocalypse, we're going to grade this on 4 different scales. 1 to 5 stars as a rye whiskey, 1 to 5 stars as a Canadian whiskey, 1 to 5 stars as a brown spirit, and then do you put it on your bottom, middle, or top shelf? So, Mr. Apocalypse.
As far as the first option, I'm
As a
going
rye
to.
whiskey.
I'd probably have to go 2.5.
2.5. Okay. Not a big fan of the ryes?
Not a big fan of rye.
Okay. Jake AK-47.
I'm a little bit more of a fan of the rye, so I'm gonna go 3.5.
3.5. As a guy that's drank a lot of ryes, he's had some that are bad and some that are wonderful. I'm gonna give this 3.75 so not quite 4 stars, but almost. Now, in terms of Canadian whiskey, which covers a very wide array, Mr. Apocalypse of the Mayan persuasion.
Oh, I know he's going.
In terms of Canadian whiskey, 1 to 5
I
stars.
know he's going over here. So.
I'm gonna go with 4.
4 stars as a Canadian whiskey.
Because as a Canadian whiskey, it's got the taste, it's got the smell, it's everything you'd want in a Canadian whiskey.
It is very representative. If you were going to introduce someone to Canadian whiskey and you weren't going Crown Royal, this would be a good way to go.
I'd give it as a gift.
Interesting to know.
Okay.
JKK-47 as a Canadian whiskey.
No, that's interesting what he said. So, I would actually go with this. No.
Over that. But, well, as a Canadian whiskey, what would you grade this rye?
1 to 5, obviously.
I know. 2.8.
2.8.
2.8.
I'm going to say 3.5 as a Canadian whiskey because it's an amazingly good proof of type, if you will.
I went generous though.
For you, yes.
I should have went 2.5, but
now as a brown spirit, gentlemen, Mr. Apocalypse.
A rye whiskey is something you can always make a drink out of. So I'm going to go with a 3.5.
3.5. Mr. 47.
I'm going to go with it's smoother. You can have it on the rocks.
Okay.
And
Makes a good point.
I'm going to go 3.5.
All right. 3.5 stars for brown spirits. Gentlemen, I'm in agreement. 3.5 stars.
3.5.
So, rye, you at least get 3.5 stars from each of us. Now,
Apparently you beat the shit
the
out of that one.
Yeah.
the last metric, bottom, middle, top shelf, Mr. Apocalypse.
You know, I'm not a fan of rye whiskey, as I've said earlier in the night, but I would actually put that on top shelf because it's going to make a damn good drink.
Ooh, okay, top shelf, Mr. 47.
Middle shelf, top shelf.
Interesting. This one will be middle shelf. Will be going onto my middle shelf as soon as we cut here. Excellent spirits all around. Canadian Club. If you've heard of its reputation as a bottom shelf, give it another shot. It might not be fairly earned. So, as I am known to say here on the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, all that being said, I am the devilishly handsome outlaw himself, the Tom Brady of wrestling podcasting, the Michael Jordan of spirits podcasting, the Muhammad Ali of podcasting in general himself, your king of extreme, Phil Cayley. Oh, I know. And the king of blocking. Signing off and handing it off to my indomitable broadcast. Oh, Jake can't even take it. Jake AK-47 signing off, and Mayan Appocolypse. Catch you later, folks. Like, share, subscribe. See you around.